when I mix my uh, container soil, you want to use, now if I was using old soil, I would use a certain amount of old soil. I've explained this before. And then a certain amount of new soil. So I'd say maybe 40% old, and then the rest would be new soil, perlite, vermiculite, peat moss, and a fertilizer. That's my recipe. That's it. How you measure, I'm saying 40%, but let's say we'll say it in parts. Like this container, we'll measure it with this container. So say if I was saying 2 parts old soil, that would mean I would fill this container with old soil, and that 2 of those would be 2 parts old soil. And then I come in with 4 parts or maybe 2 parts of new soil. So I'm not going to just use just the plain old soil. The only way, and I know you can't see my face, I'll step back just a little bit. The only way I would use totally used soil is if I know that, say for instance, I planted something and the plant just didn't make it and it died out. And it could have been for, not because the soil was bad, but for other reasons. And I know that that is actually good soil. I know that I can smell it, I'm looking at it, there's nothing wrong with it. It smells fresh, it doesn't smell rancid or bad or anything. And I may maybe just add a little more peat moss and then amend that soil with more perlite, more vermiculite, and more nutrients. Earthworm castings, bone meal, blood meal, a fertilizer. And I'm going to reuse that soil. But that's the only way I would use completely just used soil. Other than that, if I'm using my old soil or my used soil, I'm going to add more new soil to it. To give an example, like these containers over here where I grew stuff last season, but the containers are still there, there's still soil in there. I will remove that old plant out of there and dig up that old soil, place it in this wheelbarrow, and then I'm going to add new soil to that old soil. But I always check the conditions of it. It has to be in good condition. This may be a bad angle, but we're not going to worry about that. I really just wanted you to see what I'm doing in the wheelbarrow. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a pause on the camera, and I'm going to go get some old soil to add to the wheelbarrow. Okay? All right, you guys. So I brought over one of these totes, right? Look, this is old soil, old used soil. I actually want to bring the camera closer so you can see. And I'm not wearing any gloves. It's fresh. It smells like just earth. Okay? This is soil that I grew broccoli in during the fall. And when I tell you, even the roots that were in the bottom of the container has decomposed, and they're so fine you can barely see them. Okay? And the soil is good and rich. This is used soil. And like I said, I'm a soil sniffer. It smells like good, fresh dirt. Those containers have been sitting over there. Okay, I have my little flexi tote. I really want to bring you closer so you can see this. I'm going to pull it over a little bit closer. Can you see that? I want you to see. There you go. Let's try to get it this way. I want you to see this soil. See that? You can still see bits of perlite. Even though there was roots in there, you can see the roots have decomposed and broken down, and it smells good. It smells earthy. Okay, so I'm going to take this old soil or used soil, dump that in the wheelbarrow. Okay, it's just enough because I need room to add more soil and other things like peat moss, perlite, all of that. Okay? So now I'm going to add the peat moss. Okay? Oops. No, I'm sorry. I need to add more soil. Forgive me. All right, just one moment. Okay, the soil that I'm using will be this Kellogg's. Okay? This Kellogg's raised bed and potting mix, okay? Let's see if I can just rip it open. Here's a little spot. So, certain amount of old soil. Certain amount. I'm saying certain amount because I'm going to eyeball it, you guys. But, like I tried to tell you before, I use that bucket as an example. Say, for instance, and if you want me to do it that way, I can. I can just scoop out 2 parts old soil, then put in 2 parts new soil. But I'm not going to do that. I think you understand. We're not going to use just old soil. We're going to add new soil to the old soil, and then we're going to add in the perlite, vermiculite, and a peat moss and a fertilizer, and that's it. That's my container mix, or my potting mix. Let me get me a scoop. I'm trying not to move around too much, you guys, so I can stay in the camera range. Oh, here we go. Perfect. I'm going to use this measuring cup. I'm shaking it up a little bit, so you know how it's in the bag and it begins to shape like the bag? There you go. Adding the fresh soil to the new soil. I'm going to let you take a look at the quality of this Kellogg's soil. We'll get a little closer. I know that the sun is going down over there. I'm sorry, the sun is setting. So, okay, but it's good. Okay, that's a good quality soil. This is like middle, I always say middle of the road. It's not the most expensive and it's not the cheapest. Okay, there are some large particles of wood, but not enough for me to fuss it out. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I am happy with this all just the way it is. Okay? Trying to keep an eye on old Josh. Josh over there, you guys. You can't see him from this angle, but he's over there. Okay? I hope you can hear me pretty well because there's somebody over there mowing their lawn. So I'm mixing this container or mix because I'm going to plant 2 tomato plants. That should be good. I'm going to move this aside. All right, you guys. I appreciate your patience. Look, walking off camera and whatnot. Thank you for seeing. All right. I have my little container of peat moss. Bucket is almost filled. Okay, so now I'm adding the peat moss. Okay, I'm gonna give it a quick mix first before I add anything else. Just try to, while it's still at this level, before I add anything else. Let's just kind of mix this in, because the other stuff is gonna be like perlite and vermiculite and the fertilizer. Okay, so I really want to get the new soil and the peat moss mixed in well together. So let me work on that. Okay, I'll put you where you can see a little bit better. You know, instead of moving the camera, I would rather move the wheelbarrow because I think I have the camera set up the way I want. Okay. All right. Can you see that? Is it okay? All right. I tried. Okay. I don't want to move the camera because I think I have it in a good spot. It's moving. The wheelbarrow's moving. But we're not gonna worry. I'm gonna keep going. Look at it. You saw? That's all right. All right. This consistency of the song right now is just perfect the way it is. But we will add that perlite. I'm gonna actually move you because I want you to see it the way it is before I even add the perlite. Okay? Okay? You see that? Look at the consistency of it. Now that is a mixture of peat moss and the old soil and new soil. It's pretty good, huh? Okay, now we're gonna add the perlite. Yes, Josh, but we're all right. Leaves gonna fall. See, that's why I didn't want to move it. Okay. When you're totally honest, I'm using a little makeshift stand holder here because, like I said, so much mess is going on in the house. I can't even find my equipment for the camera. I'm going to get the perlite vermiculite. See this little container here? Excuse me. I actually mix my perlite and vermiculite together. And I'll tell you what I'm doing. Look, I have this little trash can, a little mini trash can that I have here. All right, but I didn't just place the vermiculite and perlite directly in the trash can. I used a bag. That's to contain it so it won't go flying everywhere. So I put the perlite and vermiculite together. I'll show you. I mix it together. You see the little white specks? And then you see the little brown particles. That's the brown particles, that's the vermiculite. The white particles, that is perlite. Okay? And perlite for drainage. Vermiculite for moisture retention. And also, they both help just make the soil a lot airier and light. It keeps the soil from clumping together. So yeah, I just mix it together. And also, I was telling you that I have a bag in here. So I have this container. I basically take it out of its original container or bag, and I place it in this large garbage bag inside this can. Okay, so. It feels good out here, but it is, I have to admit, in Louisiana we have humidity. Okay, so there's a tiny bit humid. Okay. There's a lid. So basically what I do is I take the bag, that cup, I have so many of them, that stays in here. So it's just ready. I close the bag, then I take, I take my little top, has latches on there, and I close it. That's my perlite vermiculite. Okay? Now, as you can see it on there, now I'm going to start mixing in. But you know what? I think I can go ahead and add my fertilizer right now. Give me a second. I'm going to walk real fast. See? Look. want to show you something. You see this little container? Those of you who have pets may recognize this container, right? See if I can. I got it on there wrong. Let me see if I can open it. There we go. Airtight. Okay. This is actually for pet food, but I found it. I found it at a store. I want to say a place like Ross or whatever. And I'm using it actually for my fertilizer. So in here, I actually have. Can you see that? It's heavy because it's not meant to be moved. It says plant tone. And I actually have on here the NPK 533. This is plant tone by Espoma, but I took it out of its original container or bag, and I placed it in this storage bin because I've had issues where when a real bad rainstorm comes, the place where I was housing my fertilizer, it was too close to the edge, and when the wind would come and the rain, it would wet all of my fertilizers and all of that. So I decided to start putting everything in these little plastic containers, and this one is actually airtight. This is, now trust me, I do not carry, I'm not going to carry this around. I just brought it over here so you can see it. And also, like I said, the patio area, my gardening stuff is not organized right now. So I'm saying that to let you know, I'm not lugging this thing around because it's extremely heavy. I'm not lugging this around. I just brought you this so you can see this little nifty idea where I have this little container. It's airtight, and my fertilizer is in here. And all I got to do is buy the plant tone, or I have one for tomato tone, and I have one for plant tone. And I just refill. I just refill the container. So while I have it here, I'm going to go ahead and get my little scoop out. I'm going to scoop out enough of the plant tone. Let's see. For this much soil, that should be good. Don't you think? Now, I can't measure with this cup because it's all worn out. I'm just basically using it as a scoop. I can't actually measure. You can't really tell because the little measurements are worn off. You know what? A little more. Not like that, because this is a whole wheelbarrow full. That, some people may say that's too much, but we'll see. It'll be okay. Set aside. And I'm just going to sprinkle that on top of the perlite and vermiculite. Just kind of making sure it's all over, like this. Okay. Put this aside. Can you see? All right. So far we have what? We have old soil, we have new soil, we have peat moss, perlite, vermiculite, and now the fertilizer. So I'm just going to start mixing that in. And we're done. We are done. I can go ahead and put this right in my grow bag right now. Now there's one thing I will do. Even though you've seen I've already put a really good fertilizer in here, when I actually go to plant the tomato plant, I will be adding bone meal. No, yes, that's right, bone meal. I'm sorry. Bone meal. I will. So I will be adding bone meal. I always I call it ringing the plant, but right around the edge of the plant. You plant it, and when you plant, excuse me, a tomato plant, you're going to plant it really deep. You're going to take off those lower leaves, but these are determinates, so I will plant it as deep as I possibly can, but I try not to remove too many stems off of a determinate plant. I've already told you that before. Okay. Oh, here we go. I'm digging down in there and just mixing it in. And we are done. And see, that's why I kind of distributed the fertilizer and the peat moss and perlite, not peat, I'm sorry, the vermiculite and perlite this way. So when I start mixing, I just go down the line and mix. Okay? Now, normally I'd be sitting down doing this, but I'm doing a demonstration for you guys. I'm going to go ahead. Let's see what we have here. This is a 7-gallon. I can demonstrate a pepper plant, so I'll fill a 7-gallon, or do I want to do the 10? Let's see what I got. Is that a 10? That's a 10-gallon. Okay, we're going to do a tomato plant. I'm going to fill this 10-gallon bag. Here's my bucket. And we're going to go ahead, we're going to plant a tomato plant. All right. So was that quick and easy? I mean, I stopped a lot running my mouth because I'm demonstrating. I'm gonna go ahead and put in a little now so it can go ahead and so it can fill out the bag. That's what I'm doing. I'm putting a little in it. I've seen people roll them down, but what I do is I kind of go ahead and try to fill the bag halfway so the bag will take the shape of the soil and it'll stay upright. Just a little at a time. All right, I got it almost filled to the top. I'm gonna bring you closer so you can see. Okay, almost filled to the top. The reason why I'm stopping right here is because I'm gonna go ahead and place the plant and then fill in around it. Okay, because you want to bury it kind of deep. Okay, be right back. Also, another thing, you guys, like I have a container for my plant tone, I have a container for my bone meal. My bone meal and my blood meal. Okay? I just take it out of the plastic bag and I put it in one of these. And if I have the room, I'll leave the little scoop right in there. This is a 315-0. This is organic bone meal. Okay? I'm going to rearrange things a little bit so I can pull you closer so you can see and actually plant the tomato. Okay? Move my little soil over, my little wheelbarrow. Okay, so I'm going to re-angle the camera. Alright? Is that better? Let's see if I can bring you closer so you can see. Okay? Alright, let me get the plant. And then there's one other thing I want to get to. This is something I always use, so I have to do it. I'm going to add magnesium. Or, I'm saying magnesium, but I'm actually adding Epsom salt. Okay? It says Epsom salt is a plant nutrient. This is the brand I got by Pennington. Okay? Corrects yellowing leaves when caused by magnesium and or sulfur deficiency. Okay? But I'm going to add just a little magnesium or Epsom salt. Sorry. Just a little bit. I did that to the pepper plants too. Okay? I don't want to just leave it on top there. So I'm going to mix it in a little bit. Some of you may say, okay, it's not necessary or that's not enough. but I don't want to overdo it because you can overdo a thing also. Okay? So I add a little bit of that Epsom salt. Another thing I do is I need another bag of this biotone. Right there in the soil, just sprinkle a little bit. Right there where I'm going to plant the plant. Okay? Mix it in just slightly there because you don't want that just bare material touching the plant's roots. Okay, but it's mixed into the soil. I'm going to get. Yes, Joshua, all right. Here we are. You guys, this is a Better Bush hybrid tomato determinate tomato plant. Okay, that's what we're planting today. Now, there are a few little leaves on here, so I will be pinching those off. I'm gonna pinch this one off. I think it'll be okay. So I can go a little deep with it. Alright? That's as far as I'm going. Some people may say, nah, you need to go farther, sis. No, this is a determinate. So I'm just concerned about losing my fruit if I'm sitting here pinching off the leaves and stuff. Okay? Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and place that in there. Then I'm going to circle it with the bone meal. Now, when I say circle it, it's not in the middle where the plant actually is. It's around the sides. Okay? Plant's in the middle. I'll actually bring you over so you can see. I might add just a little more of the plant tone. You never know. Okay? You know what? I have a tomato tone. Or, yeah. Okay? Let me go get that. I'm going to go grab that real quick. Because I have a tomato fertilizer that is actually specially formulated that has calcium, I believe. I think I do. Here you go, you guys. Look at this. I have this, and this is the Expert Gardener brand, but look what it says. Okay. All right. So I'm going to mix that in too. Now, I'm going to place it around the edge, just like I did with the, just a little handful. Because, you know, we already have soil that has been amended. Okay. Now, I'm going to cover the plant, bury the plant. And as I do that bone meal and fertilizer is going to get mixed in. So I'm just basically filling it in. There we go. Just backfill. I'm trying not, you know what? I hate it when my soil hits the ground. I will literally pick it up and put it in my container because it's precious, if you ask me. It is precious. I'm going to press down a little bit, pack it firmly in. Okay? And continue to fill. Just kind of make it a little off-centered in my opinion. I try to make sure it's centered because once you get it in there, it's in there. So if it's kind of leaning to the side, it's kind of stuck there unless you up pot it. We're not doing that. All right. Let me tell you what I'm going to do. At first I did not like it. Let me tell you, I can do two things. I have an organic compost, and that's what I was about to tell you. I didn't like this organic compost when I first bought it, but now I love it. And then I also have my very own compost. Just for the sake of time, I'm going to use the organic compost because with my compost, I actually have to go over to my compost bin, get a shovel, mix it around, and all of that. And I just like I said, for the sake of time, I'm not going to do that. But that would be awesome, to go on this plants. And basically, I just put it right on top. But I'm going to use the organic compost. Give you a little look in there first. Okay. I've been using this lately. I bought it a couple of months ago. And when I first opened the bag, I didn't like the look of it. It had too many wood chips, in my opinion. So I didn't use it. But now, I use it pretty much on everything. And when I have the time to dig in my compost bin and dig around in there and get some of my very own compost, I always use that. That's my go-to. That's what I really want, right? But I'm just going to sprinkle it right around the top. Just a little layer of compost. Okay. And that's it. Before I water, I prefer to mulch in the plant. I prefer to go ahead and I use wood mulch, brown mulch. I'm going to mulch it first because when you water, I feel like that layer of mulch will protect the top surface from eroding or being knocked around when I water the plant. And also another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Pennington plant starter in my water. So let me get the brown mulch first. Get my other grow bags. Because pretty much that's going to be it for today. The perlite, vermiculite, and all of that. And also I guess you can add my fertilizer. I have a container for that. I also have a container for my mulch. Okay, and I go kind of thick with the mulch. Just regular brown mulch. Wood chips, right? Kind of go thick with it. Okay. I'm gonna retain that moisture. Keep me from having to water over and over again. But you know what? Now that I'm using grow bags, I may have to water a lot anyway. Okay. Thick layer of mulch. Ta-ta! And there we have it, you guys. I have to, let me find the tag. Here it is. My better bush. I'm going to water this in, you guys, with Pennington. You want to hang on a moment? This is the Pennington plant starter. It helps to reduce transplant shock. Okay. Also, guess what? Using a grow bag, they said that that reduces transplant shock also because they get a lot more air. Okay. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to follow the directions on the container. It has like a little squeeze bottle, and it is pre-measured. Okay, I'm going to fill this watering can. Water it in, you guys. Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to move the plant to its home. I'm not going to water it here. I just thought about the fact that it's going to be heavy. So it's already heavy. I don't want to water it in and make it more heavy, and then I have to call myself moving it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move it to its little spot right now. Okay. Love the handles. Look at this. All right. And to save my back, I'm going to use my little platform. Okay. All right. I'll meet you guys over there. Just realized I forgot something. My marigold. But I don't think it'll be a problem. That's a quick fix. I'm just going to move some of the mulch from over here in this area. Okay. And make a little spot right here for the marigold. Same thing I do with the, use a little of the biotone. That's to help the root development. Okay. Put it in there. Pack it in. Quick fix. Okay, I just forgot because I normally don't use the marigolds. I used marigolds one year and it was just a hot mess. Look, I had so much trouble trying to keep the marigolds alive, and it just wasn't a good tomato year. Okay, all right, so now my marigold's in there too. Let's go ahead and water it in and call it a day. Really try not to wet the leaves. The leaves are going to get wet regardless. It's going to rain. But yeah, I try not to wet them. Alright. And there we have it, guys. It's as simple as that. Hey Josh, ready to go inside?